Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great day so far. So what do I got now? Got this '08 Ford Ranger that I put a motor in. I didn't make a video on putting a motor in, but you saw the video on the wheel stud in regards to it when I was pulling it apart. But anyway, so it came into me with a severe rod knock. So we never got to drive it. It just had a heavy rod knock. Obviously, I'm not going to take it up the road because I don't want to grenade the motor and create a bigger problem. Because if you ever changed a motor in an automatic vehicle with a locked up motor, you know how much fun that could be, especially because you can't get the torque converter bolts. You know, unless you start dropping oil pans and pulling rod bearings and main caps loose and everything else, so this way you can rotate it. But anyway, off of that. So I got it up and running. Runs good. Go to take it for a road test. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Not with the motor, but with the way it's running. Like the mechanical portion of the motor is fine. Something's wrong with the vehicle. Electronics or whatever. I'm going to show you what it's doing, and then we'll go from there. So here we are on the inside. I haven't run it today, so let's start it up. Unfortunately, this thing does not have air conditioning. It's an air conditioning equipped vehicle, but the AC never worked apparently, so I never charged it up because the system was dead. So let's take it for a ride. I may have to roll up the windows because there might be too much wind noise otherwise. And see if you can see what it's doing. Actually, let me do that because I got to put my seatbelt on too, so let's pause this for a minute. Alright, so here we go. We're just going to head down the street here. Whoop. Oh, it's absolutely falling on its face. Absolutely. Can you see that? Can you hear it? Alright, I'm going to pull into the rec center here. And then we're going to hook the scanner up and let's see what's going on. It's like almost undrivable. It keeps bogging down and falling on its face. Let's turn around here. And I can also roll the windows down. Alright, let's get our scanner hooked up. Now, I think I said it was an '08 Ford Ranger. My mistake, it's a '98 Ford Ranger. Alright, so I got my scanner hooked up, and let's see what we got. Now, you did note, there's no check engine light. There's an airbag light, but there's no check engine light. So, that's the vehicle. It's populated in the scanner. So let's continue. Main menu for engine and powertrain. Codes menu. Let's go to memory codes first. Okay, mass airflow sensor intermittent. Let's go to pending codes. No codes present. Okay, I've seen it happen many times. Okay, now I'm going to show you something. I actually already have a mass air meter for it. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shut this down. A lot of cars you can do this on. Some cars you can't. I have yet to discern which cars you can do it on and which cars you can't. I know you could do it on GMs. I know you could do it on Fords. I don't know if you could do it on every single make and model that has a mass air meter. But let's go underneath the hood and let me show you what I'm going to do. Alright, so here we are. Let me get the prop rod going. Alright, so right here is your mass air meter. I'm just going to unplug it. Don't clear any codes or anything. There you see, there's the used motor. It's very rare that I buy a used motor for anything. I usually buy a whole vehicle from auction and use that. But on this one, since I knew the person selling it, because I know them at the wrecking yard and they had the motor and they said it was a good motor and it only had 80,000 miles on it, I trusted what they had to say. So that's why we did that. Because otherwise, I don't trust anything anybody's got to say. Although, I have gotten engines from LKQ, and I usually trust them. They're pretty reputable. So, let's go. And let's take this for another ride. I'm going to leave the windows down because it's just too hot out. It's not killer like it's been, but it should induce a check engine light now. May not until I start driving it. Let me pause this. I can put my seatbelt on. Alright, here we go. I may have to clean the throttle body on this. The pedal itself sticks a little bit initially. When you go to try to hit it, it's like stuck almost, and then it pops free. Usually it's just carbon buildup inside the throttle body on the butterfly. Let's just wait for traffic to clear. Come on. Cut the headlight up, buddy. All right. See that now? It's driving fine. Because usually what happens is it'll go to a predetermined calculation of the mass airflow sensor if it doesn't read the mass airflow sensor at all. So that's, like I said, it's very common on many GMs and on many Fords also. So I should be able to, drive this with no issue. And then we'll just check to see if, you see it revs up. I'm actually kind of amazed it never threw a check engine light. I really am. And I know it works because I've seen the check engine light on. Alright, so let's pull over here. Back to my little handy dandy scanner here. Let's see if we got pending codes now. Again, no codes. Memory codes. Let's see if anything changed. Oh, there it goes. Low input, so it did add one code to it. So, let's do this. Let's go back to the shop. And let's throw a mass air sensor in this. And then we'll take it for another ride and see how it runs. There could be a wiring problem. Could be a computer problem. Going back to the PCM. And, because of high resistance in a wire or something. It's very possible. But, considering everything and that it's disconnected, we're going to throw a mass air meter in this thing first. I'm not going to bother ohming out wires or anything like that because that's just a waste of time. So let's get back to the shop. Alright, so we're back in the shop. I got my new sensor here. Let's take a look at what we got. So it's a Duralast DL3029. Now here, on the mass air meter, you can see that's a tamper-proof Torx right there. And this one has got some either plastic filling up the hole, which I'm going to have to pick out with a pick, or grab it with a pair of vice grips and then work it out. Nicely enough, they actually give you a tool because not everybody's going to have tamper-proof Torx. As you see, it's got a hole in the center. So let me do that. And one thing I wanted to point out too, on the new sensor, I'm sure somebody out there probably wound up doing this at some point. The hole in the housing here is not big enough to accept this. This is actually a cap because the sensor is there. And that's got to fit down inside the hole. And I'm sure they do this just to protect it. But I'm sure somebody somewhere along the line, somebody's probably reamed out the hole to make this thing fit and then couldn't figure out why it didn't work. I'd be willing to bet. So let's get that apart. And let me go grab a pick and see if I can't pick that stuff out and see what's going to be involved in that. As you see there, I tried to pick out the center with a pick. And it's actually pretty hardened plastic. So what I did was I actually broke it free with a pair of vice grips like this. And it's free now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out because I got to reuse that screw. So I'm going to take it out and I'm actually going to hold the screw with the vice grip and I'm going to heat it up briefly with a torch just to melt out the stuff that's in there. So let me get that out. So there you see it. And this is the first time I've ever dealt with one like this. So I got my torch handy right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to heat this thing up real quick. So let me get this thing lit and we'll do that. So I don't lose it. So I've never had to do this before, but this is a first for me. Even if I burn it out, it's really not a big deal. Alright, try picking that out with an actual pick now that it burned up. And as you see, the head of it fell away from the heat as soon as I hit it with the pick. So I'm going to heat it up a little bit more, hopefully burn the rest of that out of there, and we'll go from there. I'm not going to show you that whole thing though, but you understand what I'm doing. And so there we go. I got it nice and hot, and it pretty much just burned it right out of it. I went with the pick, just cleaned it up. So now I should be able to get the tool in there for when I got to go back together. So now simple procedure to remove the other one. Just get the tool in the hole there and break it free and spin it out. And now with the screw out, it should come right out. Really nothing to see there. There's nothing broken. Doesn't even appear to have much debris on it at all. Because sometimes you'll have debris on it. I've seen, it's got a little bit of a spider web on it actually. That can certainly affect it. But it won't create the code that it had. Usually it would be like a performance type code. See how it's got like rust on there? That could create resistance. So, okay, well, we're going to throw this on. Plus, if you look at the base of those posts, too, this thing just doesn't... It's nasty. I've seen worse, though. But, hey, it is what it is. So let's throw the new one in here. And like I said, and I'm sure somebody's done it, you can't physically put this in there. It doesn't physically fit. So you got to take that cap off. And then always be mindful when you're putting this in that you don't smack the sides, you know, like remember the old game Operation? So get it lined up, push it down, get it in place, make sure it's seated, because I'm sure somebody out there too has gone and tightened up one and go to tighten the other one up and snap the ear right off of it because it's slightly cocked in the hole there. So let's get the screws in there. I'm not going to bother showing you that. Let's get the screws in there and tighten that up. So there we are. It's down and tight, and like I said, I went a little bit until it was tight. Snap that in place. So let's put this away, and then let's close the hood. Let's clear some codes and go for a ride. All right, back inside. Let's turn the key on. Let's come back here, and let's clear out all our codes. I don't know why the radio turned on. Okay. Now let's just go to pending codes. I always like to see what's there, if anything, because not all the time will it actually clear the codes out. And I've seen on some Fords, and I don't know the reason why, where you can clear the codes out, but for some reason they stay. Like they're technically cleared out, but for some reason the computer won't get them out of its memory. I've seen it on some Fords where you have to do a couple of drive cycles before they actually physically disappear. Like you could have had a check engine light on, it will clear the light, but for some reason the codes are still there. Other times what I've done is I disconnect the battery and basically drain down the capacitors and put the battery back up, and then everything's fine. But it's like I said, it's not like the codes stay active or anything. They just sit there for some reason. Eventually they go away. Not sure exactly why. Let's shut this off. I hate having radios on. All right, let's take it for a ride and see what it does. Oh, there, you can see the check engine light does work. All right, let's get our seatbelt on. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you too before I forget. What that means, the OBD2 system check incomplete, that's basically the monitors, the computer monitors, like for misfire, evap, stuff like that. It's just telling you that they're not all complete. If you're doing state inspections that require monitors to be set, that's basically telling you that they're not all set. That's all. That's all it's there for. It's not an actual code, other than, yeah, it's saying that once all the monitors set, then that'll actually go away. It has no effect on anything. It's just kind of just to tell you. That's all. So let's go for a ride. Like I said, this may not have fixed it. I don't know until I drive it. I still got to clean that throttle body. Oh, it didn't fix it. Nope. Aha! We have another problem. That did not fix the issue at hand. So we have got a wiring problem more than likely. Okay, so let's see. And this time it did it before I even left the lot, which I guess that's good. Let's see. No codes. Let's go back to memory codes. Complete. So now I'm going to have to take this thing down the street and see if I can't get it to induce a code. So let me turn around and let's try going down the road. Alright, so here we go. We're going down the road. And as you see, it's falling on its face. So I got to get it to induce a code. Wow, it's actually, I think it's, yeah, it just absolutely falls on its face. Let's get in, pull into my little place here and see if she induced a code. P1100, mass airflow sensor intermittent, same code as before. Okay, so I'm going to have to get into this and figure out what's going on. Obviously, it's got a wiring issue somewhere, because with it disconnected, you know, everything's fine. So something in terms of the feedback going back to the PCM is creating the problem. All right, well, I wanted to show you that you can run them without the mass air meter. That was the whole point of this. And like I said, it may not fix the problem, and it obviously didn't. So this is going to take a little more time for me to figure this out. So, but anyway, that's all I wanted to show you for today on this. So if you're getting something out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. There will be a second part to this video, obviously. So, all right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.